Okay, great. It seems like we are streaming now. I'll share my screen. We'll go with our regular agenda.
I have one announcement.
Oh, great.
Yeah, Node Canvas was ported to Node API about 2 weeks ago. There's the link to the pull request.
Well, sounds like it's a thing that we should post it in this news thread, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it might be worth it.
So, yeah. Would you mind doing that or?
Oh, sure. Yeah, can do.
Well, great. Okay. So do you have any other announcements?
I'm just curious what this Node Canvas is.
It's a library that sort of emulates the Canvas element, so you can like draw things using. I think it uses Cairo as Pango and Cairo as the backends, and so you can draw vector graphics and render them to like a JPEG or PNG or SVG or something like that, and then you can serve that up.
Yeah, right. You don't have to open a browser to run your application to draw Canvas. Instead, you can run it in your headless Node.js application instead.
Exactly. Yeah. So you know things like point to, line to, fill, stroke, path, that kind of thing, and then render to JPEG, and then serve the resulting thing over HTTP, for example. So you can create like charts on the fly and that kind of thing with Node.
Yeah.
So they previously used some non-Node other API, and now they switched to Node API.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So nice, long, interesting discussion in that PR, but it worked.
Very cool.
That's awesome. So, well, we are going to go through a list. Since Michael isn't here, so I suppose that we just skip these topics like full coverage and the C language bindings. Also, I don't see any updates on the debug testing. So we are going to the still issues. First one would be the pure finalizers. Vladimir, do you have any updates on this?
Yeah, I'm about to submit a change to PR. I was working through this feedback Gabriel left. Thank you. Yeah, I should submit it in probably a few minutes after meeting.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Thank you for working on this. So we'll just wait for your new commits to be uploaded. Then we can take another round of review, right? Sounds good. Thank you.
I'll kind of ping you guys like in this PR after it's ready. I want to wait until it's all verifications will be green, and I'll ping you after that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And yeah, the second one is enabling the forcing Node API uncalled exception policy. And I have updated the PR regarding Gabriel's review, and thank you for the review. It sounds like we are ready to go on this PR, and I will keep it open for another day if there is anyone would like to take a look on it, and I will land it by the next day. if there is no any other comments. Do you have any questions regarding this one?
No, looks good to me.
Okay, thank you. And the next one will be object wrap in Node.js API. Sounds like
Yeah, no progress on this one.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, we'll give it this one this time. Seems like that's all the stale issue.
I have a question about the last one. So Vladimir, you submitted that example, right, that uses proxy. Is that not sufficient to address this question?
So I submitted example how to use this proxy from C-based C Node API, but I also promised to create it for C++ Node API. It's what actually missing. But also I want to follow up with this issue, and we probably need to have additional API.
You mean core API?
Right, because what happened, like I was using this proxy and then I implemented Node API on top of Chakra, and it was working pretty well. But then lately I implemented Node API on top of Hermes using proxies, and unfortunately perf was so bad, like it's literally 10 times slower. So I believe we need to have pretty much do exactly what these people in this issue ask us to do, to add additional API.
So we're going to use like the generic property accessors in V8.
I recall that we talked about this, that we can add a new API that can be, like, say, implemented on other engines as well, while we can implement it in V8. We can implement it on V8 with the object template.
Right. Yeah. Other implementations will probably just use JS proxy, right? Unless they have something better in the engine.
Right.
And if they are willing to improve the performance, they can implement a native API just like the object template as well. Yeah, cool. But that's going to be another story, right? Sounds like.
Yeah, as long as we make the API the right shape, right? And I don't think that's so complicated.
There are tricky issues regarding the object template since it does not behave as identical as a JS proxy, but we should be able to limit the API interface to be constrained to be implementable as a JS proxy, right? So yeah, and I believe this could be a really nice path forward to enable the use case.
Yeah, I would really like it to implement to be compatible with Hermes host object. They have very limited API for host object, which literally behaves like very simple proxy. They have only 3 methods. They have one to get the list of all properties or methods, and then by this name they can call, they can get to set it.
So there's no create, delete.
No, it's just kind of very simplified at this point.
Right. Well, okay. I suppose we can roll this out in stages, right? Right. We can like not provide create and delete for now, and then go later when Hermes has caught up, maybe.
Ideally, if we mimic it after JS proxy, I think it will be better implementable other platforms. And yeah, I still can't try to put my head around like what will be exactly good design here. But I think like following general JS proxy would be probably good starting point.
Yeah, I believe following our new API guidelines that the API should be implementable from a ECMAScript view. So that would be most compatible with other engines.
Yeah, I should kind of at least try to draft this API just to kind of see how it looks like, so we can discuss it next time.
Well, yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going back to the remaining issues. Seems like we have all the tasks in the list checked. Do we need to keep this issue open?
Oh yeah, this is
Sounds
about
like
the pure finalizers.
Yeah, right. We are going back to the issue list. Do we have any issues you'd like to bring up? We don't have any new pull requests. And last time we have talked about this, but I don't have sufficient time to invest on this issue. But yeah, I will bring it up next time. And sounds like there are no new updates. Going back to the core issues. This one we have just talked about and it's ready to land. And this one will be, oh, right, it's related to Electron, but I don't have a Electron environment to verify it. And it seems like it's probably, well, is there anyone who would like to take on this issue, or maybe we can add it to the still issue list?
I'm wondering the two issues mentioned at the bottom. I wonder if they cover this and they can fix this within Electron.
Right, but I'm not sure I have the understanding of Electron's problem here, and maybe I have to take a deeper look on it. Can
we ask this person who posted those two bugs whether this has now been fixed, given that it looks like the issue and the PR addressed the problem?
Right. Okay.
I just approved this one. The last remaining thing with this PR was that this NAPI extern, which WASM requires like a custom version of, needed to be made conditionally defined so that you could pass one in from like the compiler's command line or yet another header that includes Node.api.h. The problem was solved if you just use JS native API. So it was like a soft define in JS native API, but Node API has this section that hard defines it. And so the final change was to add an additional condition instead of just if def building node extension or building node module. And I think that's sufficient.
Sorry, I may be losing my mind during the on this issue. I'm not sure I get the core change.
Yeah, so it does a couple of things. So first of all, it changes the if def so that it works with 64-bit to just WASM, and it also removes the guards from things like async work and thread safe function because those are now available. And it also the author said that the extern, the way we define an API extern in the case of WASM doesn't work for them, but it does work for some people, and it is our default. However, he would have liked to be able to define an API extern in their own way. And so we needed to change the define from a hard define to a soft define. In other words, define it only if it's not already defined. And that, I believe that was already the case in JS native API.h, or maybe this person also introduced it for JS native API to not define it if it's already defined. And then the final modification was to also do a soft define in Node API.h, because the way our include chain is that if you include Node API.h, Node API.h includes JS native API.h, and if Node API.h hard defines an API extern, then you cannot pass it in from the compiler's command line anymore. The only way you could pass it in is to include JS native API alone, but if you need Node APIs, then that's not helpful. So that was the final sort of step there.
Yeah, the software-defined API extend sounds good to me, and I recall that previously we got the async work and the thread function is because there is no thread support in WASM, and I'm not sure if this is still true for WebAssembly.
From the discussion, it sounds like it's no longer true.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, since this has opened for months, I believe, I will take another look on it after the call and maybe I can render it. And this one, I'd like to bring it up. The CI is failing on debug build because V8 has an issue on not clearing the pending exception after exiting the V8 API call. So basically, in a world that is correct, V8 should clear the pending exception flag after the V8 API call has returned, so that the exception has been transferred to the track catch object the embedder has created. However, this is not done in the V8 object defined property method, and it is crashing after we call any subsequent V8 API after we call V8 object defined property. So fortunately, this issue has been fixed in this change list, but this got us in a condition that either we have to backport this change list or we have to wait for the V8 changes to be merged into the main branch. This problem only happens when we call V8 object-defined property on a JS proxy chat handlers and it is throwing, and we are in a debug build. So it's not going to crash our release build. So that's the problem here. So we cannot land this PR right now. And most importantly, that the crash is not related to the change of this PR, but it is introduced by the test case in this PR. So on the main branch, it should be already crashing with the new test. So that's the problem here.
So I don't understand. On the main branch, it should already. Oh, you mean if we were to merge this PR, then it would start crashing on the main branch? Is that what you mean?
Well, the V8 change list is just landed on the. It's just landed weeks ago, and we don't update the main branch so often.
I understand.
So this CL is not on main branch right now, and it will be available in the next couple of weeks, but right now it doesn't. So that's we either have to wait or we have to pick this large change list. So I don't think we are in a hurry to pick this change list to our main branch. So I probably just wait for the synchronizing the source code to the main branch.
Yeah, I agree. We're gonna port V8. We do port V8 periodically, so I think it's fine to wait for the next port.
Right. Okay. So we'll just wait for the next synchronization of the V8 source. And
just a quick question: is it possible to work around this issue in our code by any chance? Because it's probably this issue exists in some previous versions of Node, I guess.
We can change the test, like say, for example, since we are call MPI define properties before MPI get all property names, we can defer this MPI define properties to the last one and I believe that will resolve the problem. But I'm not sure if there are any other V8 API calls after this function. I can.
No, I understand that you're talking about tests, but my question, is it possible to somehow work around it inside of our code? Because issue inside of V8, and we're effectively wrapping up V8 calls. Is there anything we can do in our code to wrap it up so we can propagate this kind of wrapper to previous versions of Node?
Well, the first idea that comes up to my mind will be impossible, since this state is internal to V8. You can see this V8 internal namespace, and we cannot change the internal state of V8 in Node source code, in Node code base, because this is not exposed to the V8 public API.
And we're only allowed to call a public API?
Yeah, that's correct.
Is it our own limitation, or it's kind of controlled by who sets this limitation that we can't call internal APIs?
Well, I don't believe there is a hard limit, but that's the convention, since that's how we maintain our code to be able to be maintained over times, since internal APIs can change anytime, and we don't guarantee any API stability on this API, even though as far as I can tell, like say, isolator has pending exception not going to be changed so often. But I'm not a fan of calling with internal API in our code.
Okay.
Since since this is specifically V8 Spark, and we should keep these bugs to be fixed in V8 upstream instead of working around in our code. That would be the most maintainable way to the issue.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, and I think it's like a pretty corner case. So that should also sort of reduce its priority, right?
Yeah, this is really hard to be encountered in the wild, since you can see we have a lot of prerequisites. You must call via object-defined property and on a Node.js proxy chat. So, and you are on a debug build. So yeah, we are not, this is not the priority issue we should be fixed, since no one is really encountering this issue in the wild.
Yes, my question is, so imagine this PR will submit after we fix this issue in V8 main, but then someone will try to backport this PR to previous versions of Node.
Oh, in that case, I'd suggest that we can pick the V8 change along with this PR, so that when we backport this PR to the, like say, the previous LTS lines, the V8 cherry pick would be backported to the previous LTS2.
We also have flags with which we can mark PRs to say do not backport. I think that might be an alternative, but of course it's kind of, I think it's kind of up to us to sort of monitor what the rest of the project decides to do with V8, whether they backport it to LTS like the fixed V8, whether they backport it to LTS or not. If they do, then we should follow along and backport. But I think it's up to us to monitor. So I don't know, Zhang Zhang, maybe you can add this issue to like one of our tracking issues to make sure that we check during each meeting that what the status of V8, and then we can sort of mirror the actions of the rest of the project. Might even be worth just making a new milestone issue for it, because it's a kind of a different topic from anything we have on the milestone.
Yeah, of course. Okay. And the next one would be
Hello.
Matthew's offer issue.
Yep. Hello. So I responded. I did actually get some updates into the Node add-on examples repo. I'll push that code this week and just do some discussion. Although there was one thing that I wanted to bring up is that it's going to change the contributor in the Git blame from everybody who's done all the hard work in order to create the examples. If I just put it in a folder, because it'll show me as the last person to update that code. Is there a process that we have for that, or is that considered acceptable, or just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it?
So you're going to move the file?
So what I'm doing is I'm just making some subfolders within the examples repo, and basically, so like putting the ASIC examples together, some of the thread safe function examples together, just so it's a little more organized in there. And then I've got some readmes that I was going to put in to each of those folders. So it's basically just subfoldering the examples. But because I'm moving the folder into a subfolder, it's going to change me as the, it would put me as the most recent modifier of that file.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the Git history, then that's the Git history. That's fine. As long as no information is lost, I think we're okay if we're just reorganizing it.
Yeah, it's just cleaning it up a little bit, because when I
go ahead, Cheng-Zhong. We're going to say something.
Yeah, I was wondering that the Git can pick out the removed files, and it can recognize the file is being renamed and connect to files history, so that we won't lose the history of the renamed file.
Okay, great.
If file is not changed, Git is pretty good.
Yeah, as long as the file is not significantly changed.
Right.
Yeah,
so
no, it's just moving it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay, cool. I'll try to get that up this week. Just busy with a couple conferences, so just paying work takes precedence.
No worries.
Yeah, no worries. If there are any improvements on the example in the documentation, it would be great.
Yeah, and I was going to add some stuff as far as there's not a ton about references or handle scopes in there as well. So I was just going to do a little discussion about that and maybe some little examples just to flush out the repo. But I'll put that in separate BRs. You'll see it come through.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. And next one will be the VCPVG, and I don't see any updates on this? Do we have any updates on this that we should talk about? All right. Seems like the last one will be I didn't participate in this issue in particular. Vladimir, do you think there is anything
Yeah,
we
I
can
need to
talk about?
I need to follow up on this. Sorry, because it kind of fall out of my radar.
No worries.
Yeah, I'll have a look on it, and well, next time we can discuss more details.
No worries.
There's
So
some interest
that's all.
in our team about this lead node lately, so I need to go back to see what's going on there.
That's fine. Okay. Thank you for taking a look on this. And I believe that's the last one. And are there any other issues that people would like to bring up? Okay. Sounds like that's all the issues we just talked about. And we are going to give back 20 minutes to you. And that, okay. That's all of the call. Thank you for joining the meeting and see you on GitHub.
All right, see you.
Right. Talk
Have
to
a
y'all
great
later.
weekend.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.